Trump is exploring removing sanctions from Russia. It is Monday, March 3rd. This breaking news is crazy. You can go read about this in Reuters. Basically, the U.S. is drawing up a plan to give Russia sanctions relief as Trump is restoring ties with Moscow. From the Reuters piece, the sanctions offices are drawing up a proposal for lifting sanctions on select entities and individuals, including some Russian oligarchs, according to the sources. So-called options papers are often drafted by officials working on sanctions, but the White House's specific request for one in recent days underscores Trump and his advisors' willingness to ease Russian sanctions as a part of a potential deal with Moscow. I don't have enough time on TikTok's 10-minute allowance to sum up how crazy this is and how out of step with the rest of the world this would be. You can go, if you don't know a lot about the sanctions on Russia, I highly recommend go to Wikipedia. There's an article there called International Sanctions During the Russo-Ukrainian War. And I say Wikipedia because there are a lot of references, there is sources, but also it's a lot of information and you're going to need an overview because these sanctions started in 2014 when Russia invaded Crimea. And I want to draw one very specific point here. On 17th of March 2014, the US, the EU, and Canada introduced specifically targeted sanctions the day after the Crimean referendum and a few hours before Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a decree recognizing Crimea as an independent state, laying the groundwork for the annexation of Crimea by Russia. And as a Canadian, this is a point that we've all been talking about a lot because we've been threatened with annexation by Trump for a few months now. So, a little concerning. But the sanctions on Russia started in 2014. There was multiple rounds of them just within April. There was 3 different rounds. It was multiple countries around the world. And sanctions were put in place, mostly financial, mostly targeting individual, trying to sort of, this is what you do so that you don't escalate to a war, basically. It's what the other countries can do. It's like limiting your power without physically invading. Then between 2015 and 2017, there was a whole more series of sanctions that were placed depending on what was going on. Other countries started getting involved throughout the world. I sound disjointed, but it's just because my mind is blown. Even Trump put sanctions on Russia. In 2016, Barack Obama signed an EO expelling 35 Russian diplomats, locked down 2 Russian compounds, expanded sanctions against Russia for its interference in the 2016 U.S. elections. And in 2018, Trump imposed financial sanctions and oligarchs, the companies they control, different things that were going on, state-owned weapons trading companies, Putin's ex-son-in-law, like just so many people. And it wasn't the last time he did it. So Trump put in sanctions under the advice of the U.S. State Department, but so many other governments around the world have put in these sanctions. And to have this as a moment where Trump is saying, like, you know what, maybe we'll just ease sanctions on Russia. What? You guys, this is a big deal. I know that sanctions are not sexy, and I know a lot of people don't understand how they work and they don't follow them. But let me tell you, this is a really big deal.